Happy Thursday. It's funny because you learn something new every day if you put yourself out there and be willing to absorb different ideas. That's why I always tell people they should walk every day. I walk, a minimum of 70 minutes a day, and I really try and get 140 minutes in most days of just physical walking. No crazy stuff, no speed walking or crazy stuff, just a casual strut around my neighborhood. And I have different routes that I take that I've timed over the last 4 years that I've lived in the neighborhood that I live in up here in Washington. And during that time I absorb information through audiobooks or live streams or videos that are online, or Q&As or whatnot with people whose minds I respect. The individuals with great minds. So today I was listening to a piece with Ori Hofmedler, who is the author of The Warrior Diet, that I believe came out in either the late 90s or 2000 or 2001, around that time. And what he was talking about was the life extension benefits of not intaking carbohydrates earlier in the day or after directly after exercise, whether it be muscle endurance exercise, distant running, sprinting, whatnot, or just powerlifting or whatever, and leaving the carbohydrate intake for later in the day because of how it affects your body's insulin levels, and how it degenerates or does not degenerate, how it enhances insulin, your sensitivity to insulin. So basically, even if you're not putting on weight, he's saying that this reaction of your body from a raise in insulin, it degenerates your body. It causes aging. Now, you would have to go into his readings because he's a scientist, and I believe he's worked out of Washington University up here. He's a Husky. I believe that he's a professor at Washington University. I'm not quite sure, but I think he is. But this is interesting because in 2013, I did a pretty radical cut for several months, and what I was doing was I was mainly consuming apples and eggs throughout the day, and then maybe in the afternoon I would have like some kind of change as far as my diet is concerned. So I was getting a lot of protein, but I went away from wanting to eat eggs because I didn't want to consume animal proteins anymore. So I had to change my diet, which caused me to put back on some weight. But I wanted to make some changes because of hormonally and different things like that, in the information that I was gathering through research on cancer causing foods, chickens being one of them, especially the way that these chickens are taken care of in the different corporate ran facilities that distribute these eggs to the grocery stores that furnish us with our food. So that diet went awesome. The only thing that was the problem was during my fasting window, I was consuming way too much NutraSweet through my consumption of gum. I would chew a lot of gum in the evenings, and so this started causing some issues with my body. So here I'm fighting one cancer-causing thing, but then intaking another. So I had to end that wave and style of fasting, which was working very well for me. But things change. That's how my health journey or fat loss journey has been over the years. Has been like this kind of like up and down kind of thing. I mean, I have it for the most part under control because I have certain guidelines that I can always go back to because I know my body quite well. But in an attempt to enhance my natural lifestyle of finding things that work for my body the best, it's been a roller coaster. It's been crazy, but I do think that you should take the time to read The Warrior Diet. It doesn't matter if you're trying to lose fat. If you're trying to lose fat, I definitely think you should read The Warrior Diet. But more for the the benefits and the style of diet that he talks about, the quality of foods that we should have throughout the days, especially when our body is in this shock state from exercise. He's saying that we need to be eating foods that are more fibrous, more berries, fruits throughout the day, and protein sources, not so much animal meats. He doesn't, he's not a proponent of consuming animal meats at all, which I don't consume. So, you know, beans, your broccoli, you know, those are the things that you can get quite a bit of protein out of. And then any of your other berries and fruits, bananas, things of that sort. And then what he's saying is that further along in the evening, you should be consuming your carbohydrates by themselves, separate from other foods, especially fats. He's saying that it doesn't do the body a service. It puts a lot of stress on your body, actually, by consuming carbohydrates and fats at the same time. Or he's saying that a big no-no is he's saying to never consume fats and sugars together, high fat and high sugar together, because it is a huge strain on your system. As I said before, I'm not a scientist. These are things that I investigate as a way to lubricate my mind with new information that can expand my horizons as far as trying to build a complete repertoire that I can have to apply to my daily life. I do different sorts of training, which requires my body different sorts of recovery, and especially with freeboarding. I don't really necessarily do jujitsu anymore from a position of sparring or anything like that, because I really don't have the comfort to do so with my back injury. There's certain things I can do, static movements I can do, but a lot of dynamic movement I have difficulty with. That's why I try and keep a lot of my weightlifting strategy in a more static realm. But give his stuff a try. Ori Hofmiller, like I said, he wrote The Warrior Diet. I think it's a great book for you to read. And just, take good care of your health. Like I always say, this is a constant battle for me. If I had a more simplistic way of life, and I wasn't doing all these different things, and I wasn't really trying to tap into fat loss at the level that I am and get my body to a weight that I've never been at since I was young, it wouldn't be so complex. But for my long-term health, I have a lower back injury, so if I don't want to deal with pain and I want to be able to, one of my big goals this year is to go hike Mount Si. I've been afraid to because of the jump. You gotta jump an elevation so high, which means you gotta come back down, and that's a lot of stress. I did a small hike with one of my training partners over the summer, and it just beat me up, and it was nowhere near the distance or the elevation jump that Mount Si is. But I want to hike Mount Si, so I'm looking at a weight goal. And then once I reach that weight goal, then I'm going to get with my my training partner, and we're going to go hike Mount Si. But I have to get there first. When I talk about goals all the time, this is a goal that I have written down. I write down all my goals every day, and I pay attention to them. I strategize around them, and I give my subconscious mind plenty of time through meditation, through quality thinking, and sufficient rest. I try and get 8 hours of sleep 3 days a week on my rest mornings, because I usually walk in the morning. So just to give you folks a little idea of how you can build your thought process when trying to conquer things like the body and these other goals, because we want to live longer. Heck, I want to live forever. So and it's on us to take care of our health. It's on us to put ourselves in a situation where we can maximize what we have, but also not be burning the candle at both ends. Okay, so hope there's some nuggets in there. Friday's tomorrow. Star Wars comes out 7 days from tomorrow, so I'm getting excited for that. There's little things, you know, going on at the tail end of the year that that made me excited to be in a world that has the technologies and different things of that nature that we can take advantage of as a way to entertain ourselves. So happy Thursday.